People, in the words of Roberto, we as a crew need you. We don't want to talk about U of M anymore, and maybe you don't. I am going to try something here. It's a fan intervention, and I'm admitting to you I have a bad perspective here. I admit it, okay? I understand it's unhealthy. But what's been lost in the Michigan scandal has been Michigan State's very quiet head coaching search. And I just don't know anyone who doesn't want the same guy, okay? You talk to one person, they're going to tell you there's a ton of smoke with Urban. You talk to another, they laugh in your face and tell you there's no shot. Rico, I know you've gotten the same thing from some of your people in East Lansing. Who's right, who's wrong, I don't really care. I've never really been into coaching searches. I don't care about being right. And by the time the guy gets named, we just talk about it. But I have arrived at a point that is unhealthy, which is, unless it's Urban Meyer, I'm going to be completely disgusted and disinterested in my program. I'm admitting this is a bad perspective. I'm admitting it's insanely unfair to Alan Haller, unfair to Michigan State, and unfair to whoever takes this job. But I have said from the beginning, I mocked those first lists that were released. And I've been proven right because those guys are nowhere near this search. And second of all, they're not exciting. Look, part of why I feel the way I feel is the respect that I did. Look, I don't have to like you to respect you. But Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, the addition of USC, the addition of Oregon, the addition of UW, this college football is moving like one of Rico's space comets or whatever else you're into in space. It's flying. It's absolutely flying. And if State doesn't get a conversation-changing, paradigm-shifting hire, they're probably just going to get lost. And now, I'm admitting bias. My interest in college is declining daily based on all of the things we've talked about. NIL and no rules and the new realignments and that. So here's my thing. Am I a bad fan for being Urban or bust? Or am I simply the pulse of the people? That I admit my program is in bad health. I admit how good my rivals are. I admit the new day of college football. Rico has nailed this from the beginning, which is if you're not competing for those top 12 spots on a yearly basis, your stadium will be empty. And, yeah, I mean, I know I've been laughed at by some people I've talked to. Other people are like, no, you're spot on. It's Urban or bust. The intervention is Rico is saying, Michael, it's an entirely unhealthy perspective. But until I see Urban go on TV and literally have a necktie that's hand-painted like one of Huel Perkins' classics, and it says FMSU, like until I see that, I would just love to hear from you guys out there. I mean, if you're a Spartan, do you share my perspective? Or do you mock that perspective? Like, maybe there's another hire, we don't even know the name. And maybe they end up hiring someone, and it's not bad. But I feel like the only person that can, I'll say it, save MSU quickly and effectively.
See, right there. To jumpstart the program immediately. Yeah. To make you relevant and give you credibility so that next year you got Joel Klatt and Gus sitting at Spartan Stadium. You know, the way they gave the Dion treatment or the Harbaugh treatment, they will give him the Urban treatment.
Now, again, what I'm saying is not some predictive measure. There are two camps to this. The camp that believes he's coming, the camps that laugh at you for saying it. I don't care who's right. I'm not interested. I'm asking if it's an unhealthy perspective to attach yourself to a candidate. And it's like wanting the one Christmas present you know you can't have, and then when you don't get it, you're so bummed out, you're distraught. Mm-hmm. I wanted the Red Rifle BB gun with a compass in stock.
That everything else that you got for Christmas, you're just like, yeah, whatever.
Right. So 248-539-9797. I wanted to just do a little bit of equal time for MSU, and look, I'm willing to be made fun of. Go ahead, Rico. You wanted the intervention. Go ahead.
You're not going to be made fun of, Mike. The intervention is still going to happen tonight at 7, so don't go anywhere. Don't make dinner plans.
We see a bunch of people here who love you like crazy,
right,
and they feel like they're losing you.
I just want you to be open. I'm with you. First of all, I want Urban Meyer. I think MSU needs to get Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer gives you instant credibility. Next year, the door's open. I know you see all the different teams coming to the Big Ten saying, oh, my goodness, it's going to be tough. But a lot of the quarterbacks are going to be gone. So when Drew Aller is your second best quarterback in the Big Ten, you got a chance. You got a shot with the right coach. Urban's going to bring in transfers. He's going to go out and get recruits. My only thing is you can't close your heart that if it's not Urban Meyer, you're just done. You have to allow them to maybe bring in somebody else. Now, there's only a few names. Now, you're right. Pat Narduzzi,
stop.
You can burn it down.
Just stop.
No, I'm just saying, if it's a name like that, Jason Candle,
stop.
No. But if they go out there and they get another name that it's not Urban, man, it better be somebody who brings in fun, who brings in excitement. But I'm with you. Until I hear that Urban goes on Fox pregame show and says, I've heard a lot of stuff. I just want to set the record straight. I don't care what he does on some Plumbers in Tennessee's podcast, what he says. Don't care about that.
So, is it an unhealthy perspective to have all your eggs in this one mythical basket? Because again, guys, look, here's the difference, I think, between me and a lot of people who do lists. I actually watch the games. You want to have a conversation about Jonathan Smith? I've watched more Oregon State football than anybody the last couple of years. I have immense respect for what he's built. But he's a Pasadena born and bred kid. He worked his way up at Washington State and Washington and OC and Oregon State. He's never been east of the Rockies. He's a quirky guy. There are some John L. Smith vibes to him. He's a quirky guy. I love his systems. I love the offense they run. He's built one of the better offensive lines west of the Mississippi. Defensively, it's all about havoc. Bry is DC. I like the pre-snap candy. Guys, the point I'm making is his two wide receivers are 5'7" and 5'8". And are you prepared to go from the Pac-12 and you're going to go to the deep end of the water with no understanding of these rivalries, no understanding of the Midwest? What kind of staff do you put together? And do you understand? In Corvallis, it's easy to get lost. You come out here, you got to deal with the Detroit media. You got to deal with a tidal wave. See, that's where I can't stand when people are like, well, why wouldn't you like him? Because it's not about just what you've done. It's about how much of that will translate here. So when I look at it, there's one guy that gets me excited about bringing me back to football in a way. And if it's not him, I'm sorry, Rico, you know what's funny? You've thrown names out there. Like I've released some of my names. There's no point in releasing all of them because it's not I don't get to make the hire. I don't get to interview these people. But I just wondered if my perspective is, it might be both unhealthy, but also widespread.
It's not unhealthy because I'm kind of with you until he doesn't get named. I have other names in the back of my head, but that's the only one I want to hear about. That's the only one I want to see.
248-539-97. 97.